It's July 1st, 2013. And I've been checking out some more of this situation with presuppositional apologetics, which comes out of Calvinism. And there's the kind of the popular advocates or performers of this feat is a guy named Eric Hovind and a buddy of his named Cy, and his last name is something like Brukenkate or Brukenkate. Anyway, just look up P.S. Well, Cy. I think it's S-Y-E, to tell you the truth, not P-S-Y. S-Y-E something. And some B word last name. Anyway, Eric Hovind, son of Kent Hovind. So I watched a few things, and I came across this group called the New Covenant Group, and some interesting videos from them, and I'll post links. And I saw a debate between, where did I see Eric Hovind first? I think it was when I was looking through Thunderfoot's videos. That's F00T. Thunderfoot, that's an online pseudonym for this chemist guy. Then I came across this deal where Eric Hovind was kind of debating Thunderfoot, and he used this verbal technique which essentially caused Thunderfoot to kind of go in a loop with exclamation. And then Thunderfoot, Eric Hovind would come back with this response, which is essentially another question, which would just have then Thunderfoot get Thunderfoot back into the same loop. And then Thunderfoot would try to explain again in a slightly different way. And then the only real response from Hovind was to just have this verbal trick to get Thunderfoot back into the same loop again. And so Thunderfoot tries to explain again in a slightly different way. You know, it's like flavor A response, flavor B response, flavor C response, all kind of similar flavors of ice cream response from Thunderfoot, which, you know, we're trying to be kind of an honest response, but the dishonest response from Hovind was to essentially show that he wasn't really interested in his response. So then I came across a debate between Eric Hovind and Bernie Deller in Portland. I lived in Portland for a year and a half and appeared on the Cy Ligin show a couple times. And anyway, it's nice to see that Bernie has now become an atheist. So it's kind of a side note. Hey, Bernie. Anyway, so I saw a debate between Eric Hovind and Bernie Deller, and you know, Bernie was very calm and collected, like Bernie is, you know, and Hovind was like standing up and yelling at the top of his voice, you know, really obnoxious, you know, and kind of a, anyway, Hovind's general personality is kind of a like slimy, deceitful while smiling at you. Like, hey, I'm gonna just kind of pretend to be nice, but not really, and verbally aggressive. But then I came across this deal where Hovind was talking to some other people, and he had brought along this friend who's from Canada, this guy named Psy. And Psy is a bit more skilled even than Hovind in kind of a few different techniques of, basically trying to get his point across and get everyone else to shut up and be caught in an infinite loop of circular, trying to give honest responses. Those honest responses are completely discounted, and this Psy guy just brings them back into the same loop that Hovind used with Thunderfoot. Just bring them back to the same loop. And the loop essentially goes like this. It says, well, if you are intellectually honest and admit that there is a 0.0000001% chance that we're living in the Matrix, from the films The Matrix. If there's any chance of that at all, well, that means that, okay, if you're the presuppositionalist apologist, and someone admits that to you, then you will then essentially shut down any further response that the other person gives by just saying, oh, well, that means you can't know anything, you don't know anything, and so therefore you are out of the discussion. And in this New Covenant, on the video that I found from the New Covenant group, where Hovind and Psy, Eric Hovind and Psy guy, Canadian guy, were on there, the Psy guy did this so many times, including to this host guy of the New Covenant group, so many times that he essentially, he's kind of he's also a verbal bully, really. And let me just say that, I can appreciate taking a strong stance on some things, like, for example, I've watched debates with Christopher Hitchens, and, I can appreciate taking a strong stance, but at least Hitchens, and for the most part his other debaters, have enough, kind of internal honesty to not try to shut other people down through verbal tricks. Like, the verbal trick of, well, how do you know that? Well, and are you absolutely sure? And how do you exist? And it's kind of one stupid question after another. Stupid question A. Leads to stupid question B. Leads to stupid question C. And then back to stupid question A. And stupid question C. And stupid question D. And stupid question B. And they all kind of go in a loop. And then no matter what the person says, you just go back to stupid question A. And stupid question B. And stupid question C. And stupid question D. And then stupid question B. And then a person says something else, and then you just say, well, what about stupid question A? And stupid question B. And stupid question C. And stupid question D. And so on. So, anyway, that's the situation with, being a verbal bully so that you can try to get your point across. And once again, with the caveat that I appreciate being vociferous with your own position, like how Hitchens was. There's a difference between Hitchens' approach and just trying to shut people down and get them to shut up. And, this Psy guy in the New Covenant group video, he said, well, hey, you're out of the conversation. Yeah. No, you whatever you say, you're out of the conversation now. No, because you had the honesty to admit that there's a 0.00000000001% chance that we're living in the Matrix. So therefore, you don't get to talk. I don't have to talk to you. And then he also said, well, I don't do Bible study with people who don't believe in the Bible. I only do Bible study with people who are fundy Christians like myself. And so therefore, you can go to hell, essentially. And then he actually did tell people to go to hell. For example, at the end of they had on there David Silverman from American Atheists on this New Covenant group video. And as David Silverman was leaving, because he had to leave,
then Cy come on and said, well, hey, guess what, David Silverman, you need to repent. You're going to hell, bitch! And just wait until Jesus comes and put you in hell, bitch! Ah! So, that's the approach of the Fundy Christians. Now, I'm going to go shopping now. I will continue this video once I get done shopping. Okay? Okay, continuing now. So, one thing I didn't mention or make clear in the previous segment was that when this Cy person was debating or on the show of the New Covenant group, he was kicked off the stage because he wouldn't stop doing this. He wouldn't stop doing this verbal trick where, you know, stupid question A, stupid question B, stupid question C. And then if you don't answer, if you answer one way, he goes this way, and if you answer another way, he goes, it's just, you know, A leads to B, leads to C, leads to A, W, and then it's just all in a loop. So, and he, you know, if you don't follow his law, if you don't want to stay in his loop, then he says, well, you just have to shut up, you're out of the conversation. And so the moderators got tired of that, and, you know, that cheap trick. Said, hey, that's it, dude. You know, if you're not going to stop doing this cheap trick bullshit, then you're just out of here. And so then he got kicked off the stage, and, you know, and then today, as I was looking up Eric Hovind and Kent Hovind, I came across this information that apparently Kent Hovind, Eric Hovind's father, is in jail on what I understand to be tax-related issues and employment issues and employing other people and possible violations under that, you know, from what I understand. And I think when you examine the theology of these people, where they don't cherry-pick the Bible like the more liberal Christians, you know, or even most Christians, most regular Christians, they interpret the Bible the way that the Jewish people supposedly used to. And I wonder, did the Jewish people really ever interpret the Bible, interpret the Old Testament in a way that actually says, or did somebody just write a story and say that that's what happened? I guess that's another kind of key question, you know. Did they really kill a woman if she didn't bleed on her after her wedding night, you know, breaking the hymen there? If she didn't bleed, did they really kill her, or was that just a story? And did they really stone people if they didn't obey the Sabbath, or was that just a story about people who did that? You know, I guess that's kind of one question I have. But nevertheless, these people believe that it's moral to rape and kill and pillage and murder if that's what their God says to do. And so you have to kind of examine what the history is. What's the family history of these people? And, you know, here we have Eric Hovind, son of a preacher guy who's now in prison. And, you know, think about the stuff Kent Hovind spent his life so far talking about: denying science and evolution, denying facts, claiming that, you know, the Calvinist view of God, literalist interpretation of the Bible is, you know, correct. Everything else be damned. And if you don't believe that, you're going to hell and you're not a true Christian. So you examine that theology and how, you know, you got to figure, if you're the type of person who thinks that your morals are better than the literalist interpretation of the God of the Old Testament, if your morals are better than that God, stoning people for this and that, trivial things, or for misinterpretations of what the integrity of your wife's hymen after your wedding night, stuff like that. If you think that genocide of the Moabites and other people, the Amalekites, is good, then you're fundy, and your morality, well, I should say, if you disagree with that morality, then you're kind of like most people, right? You're essentially tying into your built-in human morality. Human morality comes from genetics and socialization, but you're basically tying into your human morality and dismissing, what's kind of inhuman and what we usually consider to be more things that we should avoid. Or if you are the type of person who embraces that morality, then you have to figure, what is the family history of someone who embraces that? Who doesn't mind saying that whatever God's morality is moral, just by definition, everything else be damned. Whether it's genocide or rape or killing everybody except for, Noah's kind of immediate family and spouses. And, so if that's your morality, you have to figure maybe there was some issue with your family history. And fundamentalist Christianity is child abuse. Okay? And so the men who preach it, they're either children of abusive homes, or they've been sucked into a meme set that is supported by abusive homes. Abusive parents who lied to their children and essentially allowed their children to be exposed to this evil. And how can an atheist call things evil? Well, because morality's built in, and I also have to think about, how would I view things if, as a Mormon, did I have a literalist interpretation of the Bible? And the answer is that basically I didn't. So even when I was a Mormon, I rejected the God of the Calvinist God, And of course, the Calvinists, the children of the Calvinists, don't particularly like Mormons any more than they like atheists or liberal Christians, who they all consider to be non-Christian. And they've got into such a corner that you can see that the corner that, in my view, the corner that Eric Hovind and his buddy Cy are in is a corner for men who either were abused children because they were raised in fundy Christianity, or men, I don't know if Cy was raised in fundy Christianity, or he got sucked into it, You can get sucked into a cult, into an abusive meme set, or you can grow up in it and you still kind of get sucked in just by the fact that when you're a kid you believe everything your parents say. So, anyway, so I guess just as just kind of a note, for if I ever encounter someone like this, or maybe if you do, who is a presuppositional apologist, you might need to get out a piece of paper and write down the questions that they're making to you, the kind of the circular questions, in brief form, and draw a line as to how they go, and when they loop back to each other. And then once they've gone in the loop, one loop or two loops, then you can kind of draw a larger circle around that set of questions. And then you can say to this person, okay, if this is a conversation we're having, let me just say that we have already addressed these questions you have stated, okay? And whether you would agree with me that they are fully addressed or not, I don't really care, because I've commented all I'm going to say on those questions. And whether you understand my answers or not, I don't care. Whether other people understand them or not, I don't care. I feel that I have explained them sufficiently. And so in this conversation, we are now going to move on beyond to other things. So I may ask you questions, you may ask me questions, but if any part of our conversation returns to these particular questions, then our interaction will be at an end. Okay? And so, if you told that to someone like Cy, friend of Eric Hovind, he would, because he's basically a verbal bully, and apparently either the child of abuse, or a man who was a child of abuse, in my opinion, or a man who got sucked into a meme set that does abuse children, not a whole lot of difference. But in any case, a man who is continuing to attempt to abuse people, but through this evil meme set, if he's going to say, well, hey, that's it, okay, goodbye. Well, just say goodbye, okay, see ya, goodbye. We'll just move on, okay? But if you're in a forum where, it's kind of a set time format, and you maybe have another half hour to take up, then you can, at the very least, now that they have been removed from the conversation, either they remove themselves because you refuse to go in their little circle, or you can just attempt to educate the audience about other aspects of, the problems with the literalist view of the Bible, and of the lack of morality of the God of the Old Testament. Okay, so one thing back to Mormonism is, while it's true that Mormons don't have a completely literalist view of the Bible, they do view it overall to be accurate. So, for example, as a Mormon, we were taught that the God of the Old Testament is actually Jehovah, also known as Jesus. And so the word Jehovah is, in different religions, is God, but in Mormonism, Jehovah is another name for Jesus, and Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is also part of the three-member Godhead. And if you are an Anglican Christian, or a Catholic, or a Fundy Christian, then your eyes are spinning at this point, because that view may not match up with yours, especially Anglican Christianity and Catholicism. Your God is more nebulous and stuff, and undefinable, and now the Fundis do define God to some extent, although they don't like the idea, the Mormon view, that God was once a man. Now, is there a liberation in thinking that your God was once a man? Yeah. It's kind of a stepping stone to, humanist ideals, naturalist ideals. It's kind of a stepping stone. I guess when you can have your God come down and have sex with Mary, the mother of Jesus, as in Mormonism. Now, you don't learn that until you're advanced Mormonism, like at their institutes of religion that are associated with universities, just off university campuses. You may not learn that until, that their God had sex with Mary, the mother of Jesus. But, got to admit, I suppose adultery on the part of your God is a stepping stone toward, just kind of having a worldview that evaluates, is more being willing to be more honest about human nature and not being quite so harsh. Now, I don't agree with adultery, but I don't think adulterers should be killed as such. I just think that people should divorce, and I think it's a bad thing. I think it's destructive to families, but I don't think people should be killed over it. Okay, so that does go too far. And Mormonism has a lot of other problems with, you can't criticize the leaders and stay in. You can't have freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, freedom to be human, freedom to be a normal person. You can't have any of that and be a Mormon. So it is a very controlling religion and abusive also. Fundy Christianity is also abusive in different ways, similar ways and different ways. There are some similarities and some differences. Islam is also a cult, and there are other so-called cults. I think we can be sucked in by political ideology of one flavor than the other, and I have a propensity, I think, to embrace a liberal culture, social culture, and economic views. So I think that Ayn Rand was an evil person, like I've said in previous videos, and she was basically a psychopath, sociopath, not a psychopath, but sociopath. The main difference between a sociopath and a psychopath is psychopath kind of acts out on stuff more, but sociopath. So I think that some people have a defect in their brain where they just don't have very much empathy, and they don't, if someone can't pull themselves up by their bootstraps, so to speak, then they just say, well, okay, you can just die. Anyway, so that's the libertarian thing. I've talked about that before. So, but the main thing I've learned after leaving Mormonism is, be willing to, now that you have rejected, the culture that you got sucked into and maybe grew up in, let's examine all cultures and views and take a step back and see, which worldview helps humans flourish more and which is more problematic. And generally speaking, dogmatic worldviews and cultures are more problematic. And a dogmatic meaning you force people at with a sword or a gun to conform to a certain worldview. Now, science is different in that science encourages people to disagree. Science encourages doubt. Religions don't do that. And you'll notice that these presuppositionalists, they are coming up with everything they can to, verbal tricks and circular things and verbal bullying to make it so that you can't question. And if you question their God, either you agree to go into their little circle with them, or they'll just say, oh, well, you're going to hell, goodbye. Or you're out of the conversation, you have to shut up now, goodbye. So, is that the type of person who wants a dialogue? No, I don't think so. But it's sad, really. Sad. Sad to see the children of abusive homes. An abusive home is one where if you lie to your kids about science and evolution and what the true state is of the world, and tell them that there's a universal God who has the morals of the God of the Old Testament, and that you have a need to have a literalist interpretation of the Bible and deny facts and deny evidence. You're basically abusing your children, and you are an abused person. You are an abused person, and you are abusing other people as you preach your so-called gospel. Okay? So, okay, Well, anyway, so we'll just move on, huh? I mean, we're not going to forget these people exist or not stop fighting against them, but we have to say, when is the conversation fruitless, and when do we need to just kind of help educate people about what the situation is? And thankfully, most people's brains aren't in this trap, but maybe by take a step back. Can you take a step back from your worldview? Now, what would it take for me to take? And is your worldview false? Do you consider your worldview falsifiable? And the fundy Christian would say no, because they think that everyone believes in their God by default. Well, I don't think so. Before I was age 7, I didn't believe in the fundy Christian God. That's for damn sure. And I was just barely learning about the Mormon God. I never believed in the fundy Christian God, the evangelical Christian God, not before I learned about Mormonism at about age 7, 8, not while I was a Mormon, and not after. And so their claim that I just believed that everyone believes, that's a lie. That's another trick. Okay, cheap trick. Sorry, not going to join your church. Not going to send you money. Sorry. And sorry, when you say I should go to hell, well, okay, you can go to hell. You can go to your hell too. Or how about you go to my hell? What's the hell of an atheist? Let's see, having to listen to bullshit from Eric Hovind and his buddy Cy. That's hell, I guess. Don't spend too much time in their trap, okay? What's heaven for an atheist? Let's see. A good science lecture. A visit to the Science Museum, the Art Museum. Learning about our true place in the universe, and it doesn't mean I necessarily agree with everything Lawrence Krauss says about our place in the universe, or even some of what Carl Sagan. I think that the anthropic principle means something, that humans can make our own destiny, and we are the universe made manifest, and if we make purpose, well, that is the universe making purpose. Okay? Because we are the universe made manifest. So I don't have a problem saying that. I don't think it diminishes us saying that. So, it's true that trying to herd atheists is like herding cats, and it's for good reason, because, we're trying to go in different directions and see, what works and what doesn't, and what was good and what was bad, and what do we use to judge? Well, judging, want to find out how to judge morality? Well, let's go check out Sam Harris's book, okay? Moral Landscape. Let's think up some criteria how we can judge cultures and morality, okay? And who's to say? If you're without God, is anything permitted? No. Well, there is no God. Not everything's permitted, and so that's your answer. It's an empirical answer. Okay. Well, I think I've said enough for now. Hopefully we can move forward as a species and find ways to survive the real threats. I don't think overpopulation is the real threat, so I don't take the liberal stance on that. I think global warming may be a threat, maybe. But I think we can develop technologies to fight global warming, deploying things in the atmosphere to block the sun if we have to, come on, we got brains, let's do it. Come on, okay? We can do it. I think we can. And, but I don't think trying to control people through fear and shaming on the left side, fear and shaming of sex and fear and shaming of reproduction from the left, I don't think that's any more useful than the fear and shaming of sex that comes from the right. Okay, how about that? Or does that put me on the fucking political spectrum? admittedly, there are some threats. We need to work through them and not put our head in the sand and not glom onto any ideology on the left or right too much. You know, let's reject Ayn Rand and Gloria Steinem. How about that? Okay? So, I had one other thought this evening, and that is that what would happen if you had a conversation with your wife that went like this? She says something, and then you say, "Oh, how do you know?" And then she responds, and they say, "Are you sure about that?" And then she responds, and you say, "Well, could you be wrong?" And then she responds, and then you say, and then if she says no, then you say, "Are you sure?" And then she responds, and then you say, "Well, how do you know?" And then she responds that maybe she could be wrong, and they say, "Well, hey, then you don't know anything." You know, see how far that gets you, that kind of line of reasoning with your wife, huh? So maybe an examination of how conversations can go with wives might give you some indication of where the status is, where this line of conversation, line of verbal trickery stands, and whether it's reasonable or not. All right, give it the wife judge. Okay. It's July 2nd, 2013. Time for me to go to work. Hey, I worked a little bit late yesterday, and so that means I get to go a little bit late this morning. Hey, how about that? Anyway, so I made a rather extended commentary about presuppositionalism yesterday, and today I decided to continue a little bit. So, you know, last night I started to think, well, hey, what if you talk to your wife or your friends or anybody, you know, kind of in a normal conversation, the way presuppositionalists do, like Eric Hovind and his buddy Cy, Brock-and-Kade, or whatever the hell his last name is. It kind of goes like this. Is their basic question to you is there a 0.0000001% chance that you're living in the Matrix? And if you answer, well, maybe, and then they'll say, well, you don't know anything, and you're out of the conversation, and you're going to hell. Jesus is going to send you to hell. Jesus is going to send you to hell. Oh my goodness, Jesus. Jesus is going to send you to hell. And I believe in the God of the Old Testament. Yeah, when he said to rape and to kill and to engage in genocide and to kill everybody with the flood. Jesus, that's the morality of me. That's the ultimate morality. And you don't get to be in the conversation, and I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to have Bible study with you. Yeah, you're going to hell. That's the basic approach of the presuppositionalist apologist in a nutshell. If you are the least bit intellectually honest with these people, they'll just say, well, hey, you're going to hell. And everyone believes in the God, in my God. And no, it's not possible for people to not believe in my God. And if you deny my God, well, you're going to hell, where Jesus is going to fry your
ass forever. Oh my goodness, it's time to fry your ass in hell. Time to fry your ass in hell, yeah. Jesus, praise the Lord, praise Jesus. Yeah, because he's going to make you burn. Yeah, and I'm going to be happy about that. I just love when Jesus fries your little ass. So, let's just be clear about that. With the actual position of the presuppositionalist apologist. Okay? So, anyway, now that we've got that out of the way, now that we've got that little performance out of the way, just for a bit of clarity on the situation, with regard to Mr. Eric Hovind, son of preacher guy in prison, and his buddy Cy, let's, just to be clear, okay? To be clear. So, anyway, that's my commentary on that. As for other things, hey, it's the week of July 4th, and now that it's July and August, it's time to head for the high mountain. High mountain hiking. Huh? High mountain hiking. That sounds like a good idea. If you don't go now, you're going to miss your chance. Okay? So, that's that. Okay. Have fun. I think I got excited enough with that performance, and now I'm going to concentrate on the rest of my day. Okay. Have fun. Bye.